founder at 10x Coder Kids and an official Guinness record holder for the youngest computer programmer in the world. And today you're gonna be learning your class 6 chapter 2 in computers of your book Trackpad, that is formulas and functions in Excel 2016. This is going to be a very exciting video for you and you will top your papers surely. So without any delay, let's get started. Alright, so children, please come to your page number 20. Alright, and first of all, we'll start with the topic data types in Excel 2016. In Excel, data can be categorized into three types. Let us learn about them. First is your label type. Any text entered in Excel is called label. So for example, I say Saion, or I say viewers are cool. So this is a text, right? So any text entered in Excel is called a label. So now this viewers are cool is called a label, right? It is used to define the information on the spreadsheet like heading of a column, title and name. So for example, I can give this um, uh, chart of 2022 and then I can have a table over here, right? So this chart of 2022 can be our will be a label, that will be our heading of our table, right? Pretty cool, right? It can be alphabetic, numeric or alphanumeric text. By default, the label is always left aligned. So by default, if you see, this is always left aligned. So if I say this much, it is left aligned. And it can have alphabets or it could be alphanumeric, meaning it can also have numbers, right? So a label can have alphabets or it could be alphanumeric, meaning it could also have numbers with alphabets, right? So we do not perform any mathematical calculations on labels. We can't perform any mathematical calculation on these labels. Some examples of labels are name, X45FG and all. Okay, so you have to remember four things. Any text is called a label. It could be alphabetic, alphanumeric or numeric, right? It is always left aligned and then an example. So you have to remember these four things, right? Next we have a value. A numeric data entered in Excel is called a value. For example, 45, this will be a value. These numerical entries are treated as fixed values in Excel, meaning you can't change 45 to 46. You can't say 45 is equals to 46, right? That is incorrect. Or this will take it will take this as a label, right? This is now a label for it, right? And okay, pretty cool. So these values cannot be changed in Excel. We can do mathematical calculations on numeric entries. So we can do mathematical calculations on this 45, meaning if I want to take the square of this, I can take out. So I can say 45 into 45. That will be the square. And to do the numeric calculation, I'll have to add equals to first, right? So it gives us 2025. Pretty good, right? So you can perform mathematical operations on values, right? By default, numeric values are always right aligned. So if I say 45, it is right aligned. Our labels were left aligned, but this is right aligned. For example, 45, 8, 5, 5, 7, 4, etc. Right? So you got the concept of labels and values. I told what you need to remember in labels. In values, you have to remember that it's a numeric data, right? There are fixed values. Values are always fixed. We can do mathematical calculations on values and then an example. Alright? Pretty good. Next we have formula. A formula is an expression that operates on the value of or a range of cells, okay, and generates a result. So a formula is an expression that operates on a cell or a range of cells. So like a cell or a range of cells. So I have 3, 2, 4, 5, 3, etc. So if I want to find the sum of this range of cells, I can use a formula, right? To perform mathematical calculations, formula is entered in a cell. So to perform mathematical calculation of, like, if I want to add all these, I will write the formula for it in some other cell, like over here I can write the formula, right? We perform arithmetic calculations on numeric values. We know that the elements of a formula are references. So now we are gonna see the elements of a formula. First, there is references, right? So what a formula is made up of what? First, we have references, a cell or a range of cells that you want to use in your calculation. So these will be our references. If I want to add all these, and when I'm using them in the formula, these will be our references, right? So you can directly write a cell or a range of cells on which the formula is acted upon, right? Is a reference. Next, operators, that are symbols, plus, minus, multiplication, division, and all, that specify the calculation to be performed. So to perform the calculation, to add all of these, you will use the plus operator, right? So the operators are a part of formula, right? And finally, constants, numbers or text values that do not change. So constants are numbers or text values that do not change. You have also read in maths that constants are those values that cannot change, right? So there are three things: references, operators, and constants. A reference is a cell or a range of cells on which the formula acts. The operators are symbols like plus, minus, multiplication, division that specify the calculation to be performed. And then constants are the number or text values that do not change. So some points must be kept in mind while creating a formula. A formula must always begin with an equal sign, right? So when writing a formula, you will always have to begin with an equal sign. Operators must be presented to direct the operation. So you will need to use operators. Like I want to do 45 plus 3. You have to use operators to perform a formula. The data can be either numbers or cell addresses. So like here, the data is numbers, but it could also be cell addresses. For example, A1 plus B1, right? And Excel have maximum of 64 functions nesting levels, right? So what this means is that when we do A1 plus B1, we get this. So now this cell contains A1 plus B1. Now if I do, this is B4. So if I do equals to B4 plus C1, right? Now this is basically B4 plus C1, and B4 was A1 plus B1. So it is actually A1 plus B1 plus C1, right? So this is nesting, right? You had one cell in which you have A1 plus B1. Then you have another cell in which you have B4 plus C1. Similarly, you could do equals to C4 plus A1, right? So this is all nesting, and you can do up to 64 function nesting level. All right. Excel have maximum of 64 functions nesting levels, right? Now on your page number 20, pure fact, a formula can contain maximum is 8192 characters. So it could contain a maximum of 8192 characters. 8192 characters can be there in a formula. It's a pretty cool fact. All right. Next, we are on operators in Excel 2016. So on your page number 20, I'm reading. Operators are the symbols that are used to perform calculations on the elements of a formula, right? So they are the symbols that are used to perform calculations on the elements of a formula, or you could say references of the formula. There are three types of different operators: arithmetic operators that are used to basically perform your arithmetic calculations like adding, subtracting, dividing, etc., right? And then we have comparison operators, which are used to compare two values, like 2 is greater than 3, 2 is equals to 3, 2 is less than 3, and so on. And then we have reference operators. So we'll look at these one by one. First, arithmetic operators. The operators that are used to carry out arithmetic calculations are arithmetic operators, right? So the definition is given in your page number 21, right? So I'll do equals to 2 plus 3, 2 plus 4. It will give us the result equals to 2 divided by 4, 0.5, equals to 20,000, or this big number, into 3.1412. So it gives us a big number, right? And right, so you can perform calculations using arithmetic operators. Next, we have the comparison operators. So, the operators that are used to compare two values are known as comparison operators. They return the result in true or false. So, as here, if I do 2 is greater than 3, this is a false statement. Or first, I'll have to add equals to. So, 2 is not greater than 3, right? So this will give us false. 2 2 is less than 3, this will give us true. 2 is not equals to 3, I'll have to add an equals to. That will give us true because 2 is not equals to 3. 3.0 is not equals to 3, that will give us false. Oh, that will give us false because 3.0 is the same as 3. So comparison operators were also pretty cool. And next we have reference operators. These operators are used to combine a range of cells. Some reference operators are colon operator, comma operator, union operator, space operator, and intersection operator, right? So like I can do equals to a1 to d1, right? Okay, so it copied all of that here. So, if I say equals to sum, right, I want from a1 to d1, I want the sum of all of these, so it will add all of these and give us the result. So this colon was used as a reference operator to select a range of cells, right? Very good. Now we have operators precedence on a page number 21. In a numeric formula, the result of the formula are calculated based on the given order of precedence. So precedence, you must have read about BODMAS in your class, like brackets, operator, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, right? So that's BODMAS, I think. I'm wrong with the O, I think, but it's brackets and then O is something and then division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, right? So similar like board mass, it is saying when doing any calculation, right, using operators, what will be considered first. So like colon and single space and comma will be considered first, then percentage, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction, and then relational operators. For example, I do 4 plus 5 divided by 5. So this will give us 5, right? Because 5 divided by 5 is 1 and 4 plus 1 is 5, right? So if I say equals to this, so it will give us 5, right? This is basically similar to board mass, right? Pretty cool. So now we have ways to enter a formula in Excel 2016. We can enter a formula in two ways. Enter formula directly in the cell. So enter formula in the cell after typing equal to sign. So like we have been doing, we type equals to and then we write our formula like 6 plus 5, right? So that is enter formula directly in the cell. And second, on page number 22, we have enter formula in the formula bar. So you can do this by selecting the cell where you want the formula. For example, I wanted in H1. I select that cell. I then go in the formula bar and I say equals to and I write my formula like 2 plus 3, right? Pretty cool. Next, we are on cell range. So a group of selected cells is called a cell range, right? So a group of selected cells is called a cell range. So Cell range is used to perform a calculation on multiple cells, right? So it is used to perform a calculation on multiple cells. Like I showed you that when I do equals to sum of, for example, A1 to E1. So we are performing now A1 to E1 was a cell range, and we are performing a calculation on multiple cells, right? On a range of cells using cell range, right? The address of a range is created by using the starting and the ending cell address separated by a colon sign. For example, if you have selected the cells from B2 to E4, then the address of the range will be B2 to E4, right? So as I did over here, A1 to E1, I selected A1 to E1, and then I put a formula on it. That was the sum formula, right? So I used the sum formula, the sum function on it, right? We'll see about functions, I think, here. Yes, we are looking at functions. So now on your page number 22, we are on selecting a cell range. We can select a range by using the mouse and by using the shift key. So by using a mouse, by using the mouse, I can select a range, or by using the shift key. Right? Pretty good. Alright. So first of all, by using the mouse, it's telling click in the first cell from which you want to start the range. So if I want to start from here, then press and hold the left mouse button and drag the mouse diagonally and select the desired range. If I want to select this, then this much, right? Now release the mouse button. Now I release the mouse button. Alright, pretty good. And by using the shift key, it is giving us the commands. Click in the first cell, alright, from which you want to start the range, then press and hold the shift key. Hold the shift key down from the keyboard and click on the last cell. So down, hold the shift key and click on the last cell to which you want to make a selection. Release the shift key, right? Pretty good. So you all know how this works, right? You can test it out on your Excel version also. Now we are on cell reference on a page number 22. So a cell reference is a cell address that can be used in a formula to denote a specific cell. A formula may contain reference to other cells. In such case, the result of a formula depends on values in the reference cells. Cell references are especially helpful when you create complex formulas. There are types of cell references in Excel. We have relative, absolute, and mixed. So, what exactly a cell reference is that if you have 45 here written and this is our E12. So, E12 will be a cell reference. E equals to E12 is a cell reference, right? Okay, you get by cell reference what I mean. So there are three types of cell references. There is a relative cell referencing, absolute cell referencing, and we have mixed cell referencing. Alright, pretty cool. So first of all, let's see relative cell referencing. In related cell sorry in a related cell reference, you actually refer to the cell that is above or below and left or right to a number of rows or columns. Alright, so for example, a formula equals to A2 into B2 placed in the cell C2 multiplies the values of A2 and B2. As we press the enter key, the result of the multiplication of values of A2 and B2 is displayed in the cell C2. We all know that. If we copy the formula A2 into B2 in cell C3, then the cell reference in the formula A2 into B2 change in relation to the new location of the formula, and the result is displayed to the changed cell reference. Right? So this may be complicated for you. Let me explain. I'm on C13 right now and I give 45. Then on D13 I give 20. Right? Now in E13 I say equals to C13 into D13. So we get 900. Now when I copy this and paste it here, look what will happen. Oh wow, we are getting 18,000. But How? How are we getting 18,000? Shouldn't we get 900 as we copied this? We are getting 18,000 because, see, over here we did C13 into D13, right? What is happening? Yeah. Okay. So we did C13 into D13, right? So over here in C13 we have 45 and in D13 we have 20. So from this, C13 is 2 places away, and from our cell in which the formula is there, D13 is 1 space away. So similarly here, what will happen? It will go 2 spaces away into 1 space away, right? So it is relative to what we gave. Here we have 45 into 20, so we are saying 2 spaces away from the left into 1 space away from the left, right, in on the left side. And when we are giving 18,000, see, it's saying 2 spaces away in the left side and 1 space into 1 space away in the left side. So it does 20 into 900. I hope I'm clear, right? So in relative cell reference, you actually refer to the cell that is above or below or left or right to a number of rows or columns, right? For example, a formula A2 into B2 placed in the cell C2 multiplies the values of cells A2 and B2. As we press the enter key, the result of the multiplication of values A2 and B2 is displayed in C2. If we copy the formula A2 into B2 in cell C3, then the cell reference of the formula A2 into B2 changes in relation to the new location of the formula, and the result is displayed according to the changed cell reference, right? So you can do this in your language. I've explained it how it works. Next, we are on absolute cell referencing. In absolute cell references in a formula remain the same even if we copy and paste the formula to a new location. So, for example, over here when I copied this into here, it was relatively self-referencing, meaning it changed its multiplication into D13 and E13. But in absolute self-referencing, we'll be able to copy the exact value, right? So we'll be able to copy the exact value of the cell, right? So it's used when you maintain the original references as they were. For this, we need you to use a dollar sign. So what we need to do, for example, we have 45 here, 20 here, and then I say equals to. But what I will have to do over here, I'll have to say dollar, and then this is C, and then dollar, and it is 15, right, into dollar, it's D in dollar and 15. So now we'll get 900. But look, when I copy this, copy, paste, wow, we get 900. It copies the exact value of the cell, right? So in absolute cell referencing, you will have to prefix the alphabet and the number with a dollar, right? And whenever it's copied on a new location, the value will remain the same, right? Unlike relative cell referencing. Pretty cool. Now we are on page number 24, mixed cell referencing. So as you can see by the name, so a mixed cell references refers to a specific row or column. It is basically a combination of relative and absolute cell referencing, right? There are times when we may want a part of the cell reference to change when the formula is copied, right? So we want a part of the formula to change. So for example, if I said over here, I change this and I want C15 to be relatively cell reference and D15 to be absolutely cell reference. So we get 900 here. But what if I copy it and paste it here? We get 400. Why is that? You see, C15 was relatively cell reference. So when this was copied into here, so we'll have to move 2 spaces to the left, right? So 1, 2. On C15, that is now D15, there was the value 20. And now if we are doing into d15, so it's actually d15 into d15, that is 20 into 20, that is 400, right? Pretty cool. So it is mixed cell referencing when it's a combination of relative and absolute cell reference, right? So now we are on functions on your page number 24, right? And it's pretty easy. A function is a predefined formula in Excel. Like we are doing plus, minus, and all. We can call functions. Like you remember, I called sum, right? So sum was a function, right? So it starts with equals to sign. It starts with the equal to sign. Functions are used for computing complex calculations. Some functions are used for computing easy, simple calculations, but some are for complex calculations. There are many built-in functions provided by Excel. They accept arguments and return values. So what they mean by this? When I say I want the sum of 3 and 4. These 3 and 4 are arguments, right? 3 and 4 are arguments separated by a comma, right? So 3 and 4 are arguments separated by a comma. And the returned value is the value given by this function. So the addition of 3 and 4, that is 7. So this will give us 7. Pretty cool. So arguments are the input to the functions. The value should be given in between opening and closing parentheses. For example, sum a1 to a5. a1 and a5 are arguments and sum is a function. So we can give a range to the sum function also. So if I say sum and I say a1 to e1. So it will give me the result by adding the full range. Pretty cool. Adding the values in the range. Sorry. Alright, so for example, in this a1 and a5 are arguments and sum is a function. Sum is a function. Some rules for using functions are that all Excel functions must begin with the equals to sign. Like any other formula, they should always begin with an equal to sign. Function name must be a valid Excel name. So it should be a valid Excel function. You can't just say there's a function Saion. No. It should be a valid Excel name. Function must be followed by opening and closing brackets. So when I say sum, I have to give the opening and closing brackets. And most of the function must contain an argument within it. Most of the functions need an argument, right? Sorry. Yeah, most of the functions need an argument in it, right? So let's discuss the categories of functions. On your page number 25, first of all, we are gonna look at mathematical functions. Some mathematical functions with their examples are given below. First of all, you have sum, right? In which you can give a range or you can give different values. It returns the sum of a range. Like input is sum 4, 8, 12, 16 and the output is 40. So either you could give it a range like 2 till 20. Oh, okay. Either you could give it a range like A1 to E1 and it will give you the result, or you could give some separate arguments like 4, 8, 4, 3, 2, 8, etc. Alright, next we have product. Product is the multiplication. So like sum, it multiplies the values. So for example, I do product for, sorry, I forgot the equal to sign, product, and we will give it 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. So it will give us a product that is 50, 40. Alright. Next we have mod, the divisor. It returns the remainder after a number is divided by the divisor. So it will give us the remainder. So for example, I say I want to take out the mod when dividing 4 and 3. So it will give us 1 because 4 divided by 3 it will give us the remainder 1, right? So next we have square root. So square root, it returns the square root. The sqrt function gives us the square root. So square root of 400, it will give us 20. Next we have int, it rounds the number to an integer value. Now look at this. It rounds number. Alright, so let me show you one thing. So this is an important function. What I give, if I give int here, right, and I say 52.24, it will give us 52. It is rounding it. And if I say equals to int and I say 52.74, then it will also give us 52, right? So it rounds the number. And if I say equals to int and 52.99, then also it will give us 52. So this is a wrong statement in your book. It rounds the number uh, down, right? It rounds the number down. So it removes the decimal, right? Right? It basically cuts the decimal. After 52, whatever decimal you have, it will cut that decimal. Oh, sorry. We'll have to call it in a function. So like equals to int and after 52 or 52, whatever decimal you have, it will just cut that decimal. Alright. Next we have power. It returns the result of a number raised to same power. So basically if I say equals to power and we say 2 to the power of 3, so it will give us 8 because it will basically do 2 into 2 into 2. So it is basically repeated multiplication. We say to power how many times should it multiply a certain number. So we are saying multiply 2 3 times. So it's saying 2 into 2 into 2. Alright. Next we have count. It returns a count of the number of values in the selected range. So let's try it. So if we say count and I say 4, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 values in this. I gave it 6 values, so it just tells us how many values it received. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it received 6 values, right? So it gave us 6. Next we have round. Yes. So now this is what I was talking about. It returns a number after rounding to the specified digits. So if I have, for example, I say round and what is this doing? And then I have 52.456 and I say round to the round 2. So it's saying it has given us 52 point it changed 52.456 to 52.46. Why? Because we said that we want 2 decimal digits. So what it did, it saw 4 and then it saw 5 6. So 456 is above 450, so it rounds up, right? So when it rounds up we get 460 and 460 is equals to 46, so we get 52.46, right? And then finally we have the absolute value of a given number. So for example, absolute is no negative. So if I say abs and then I say minus 25, so it will give us 25. And if I would have said plus 25, it gives us 25. So it gives us the positive value. Let us understand by taking the example of sum. Perform the following steps. So it's giving us the steps. So I've shown you how to do it. Select an empty cell and to hold the sum of the numbers, right? Then click on the formula bar. Then click on insert function and then click on the OK button. You don't need to do so much. You can just write the function also, right? But if they ask for the steps, I think you should memorize the steps also. Next you have text functions, right? Then we will have logical functions. Then we will have date and time functions, and then we will have common errors functions. So we'll move a little bit faster, right? We are on page number 26 now. So text functions. First of all, we have the concatenate. It joins together two or more different text strings. So for example, I say equals to concatenate. It's tab in this. Concatenate, right? And I say concatenate, and I say Saion. Oh no, we have to directly give it Saion and ABC. What is this doing? Okay, we have to give it in quotes only. I was giving in quotes, then I thought I don't have to give it in quotes. Right? So when you have two text strings, you can concatenate by them by using the concatenate function. Mean you can join the two strings. Then we have left. So it returns the specified number of characters from the left side of the string. So for example, I say equals to left, and I have the word Saion, and I want 3 characters from the left. So I get Sai because I said I want 3 characters from the left. So it said 1, 2, 3. So it gave us the 3 characters from the left. I hate this. I hate Excel so much. Alright. Just joking. Next we have right. So it gives us the characters from the right. So if I say right and I say Saion and I want 3 characters from the right, so I'll get iron. Alright. Then length, so it gives us the length of the text string. So if I say length of Saion, so it will give us 5 because the length of Saion is 5. Then upper, it converts the text string to uppercase. So if I say upper and I say that's Saion, so it will convert all characters to uppercase. And then lower, it will convert all characters to lowercase. So I say Saion, so it will convert all characters to lowercase, right? Pretty cool. So now it is giving us the steps to use a concatenate function, right? So pretty good. So next we have logical functions. Some logical functions with the examples are given below. So first of all we have max. So in max we can say we can give the range from a1 to e1, right? And we can see what is the maximum value in that range. So a1 to e1, and we can see what's the maximum value. The maximum value in this range was 45. Alright. Then the minimum value, we can check the minimum value of a range. So we can say a1 to e1 to check the minimum value, and we get 2. 2 is the minimum value. Then the average, we can give this to get the average of the range. So we say average a1 to e1, and we'll get the average of the range, that is 11.6. And how do we get the average? It adds all the numbers, that is 45 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3, and divided by the number of numbers. So that was 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. So we'll get 50, 55, 58 divided by 5. And 58 divided by 5 I believe is 11.6. Let's check it. 58 divided by 5, 11.6. Pretty cool. Finally we have the if. So if we give it condition and value 1 and value 2, it checks whether the given condition met and returns value if the condition evaluates to true, and returns value 2 if the condition evaluates to false. Oh, this is pretty cool. So if I say equals to if, right, and I say 2 is greater than 3, right, and then I give it the value 1, yay, and the value 2, no. So it's giving us no. Why? Because 2 is not greater than 3. If it would have been greater than 3, we would have got yay. But it's not greater than 3, so we are getting no. So if the condition is true, we get the first value 1. If the condition is false, we get the value 2. Okay, pretty cool. So now it's telling us how to use the max function. We all know that. And then we have the date and time function. Some date and time functions with the examples are given below. For example, today. So now these date and time functions don't accept any arguments. So if I say today, it will give us the today's date, right? It returns the current date. And now if we say month, and we say the month of today's date, if we want to check the month of today's date, so it will give us the month, but first we'll have to give equals to. So it gets 3 because this is the third month. Third month is March, right? Next, the year. If we want to check the year of today's date, all right. So we get 2023. Now, if you want to check the day of today's date, all right, just a second. So we get the 25th day. It is the 25th day. All right. Now we can say now. What is this now? Let's see. It's giving us today's date with the time. So it's 12:51 p.m. Next hour. So if I say hour of now. Oh my god, I forget the equals to. So it's giving us 12 because it's the 12th hour of today. Next we have minute. And if I say the minute of today, minute of now. So we get the 51st minute because the 51st minute is going on. Very, very cool. And for last but not the least, we have common errors in functions. We may get an error while performing calculations using the function. Some common errors are, so when performing calculation using functions, for example, the sum function, right? We may get some error while calculating. So what are those errors? Hash, 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 hash. The column is not wide enough to display the number. So for example, I say the square, no, there's no square. Okay, let's say the power of 1000 or this 5. Oh, let's just say a very big number. Then also we are not getting an error. Then also we are not getting an error. Okay, let's just. Then also we are not getting an error. Okay. I added a character here. Okay, we can get this error. I don't know why it's not giving us an error. Alright. Next we have div 0 error. Division by 0 is an invalid operation. Okay. Now this error I can produce. If I say 1 equals to 1 divided by 0, it gives us a div 0 error. Then the value error. The formula contains an invalid operation. Okay. This I can also produce. So if I say sum of Saion and 5, what will it bring? The value error. It can't understand what I'm trying to do. Then the NA. Data is not available. Okay. So if I just say I want the sum of what should I bring? if I want the sum of ZZ to XX, ZZ is a thing. Okay, this error can come, NA. Then name, the function name is not recognized by Excel. Okay, this I can try. If I say I want to call the function Saion, I get name because it can't recognize what the name of the function is. Then we get the ref error when the cell reference is not valid. So I don't know what is not a valid cell reference. So if I just say, okay, let me try. If I say I want the sum of E and then I just give numbers, so many numbers, to F and so many numbers. It's coming below the camera, but if this works, I'll show you. It's just giving us a name error. Just a second. Sum E and then numbers to F numbers. It's giving us a name error. Sum is recognizable. I don't know why it's not giving the reference error. Okay. Finally, we have the num error. The formula of the or function contains invalid numeric values. Invalid numeric values. So when will that be the case? I don't know. Alright. So these are the errors. I've shown you some errors, right? So pretty cool. And this was the chapter 2 of your book Trackpad class 6. And I hope you guys like the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. And I'll see you next time.